Let's talk slow version. When are you actually an adult? Most countries recognize 18 as the start of adulthood by granting various freedom and privileges. But is age the best way to measure maturity? I was born at 5 a.m. on November 6th, 5 minutes short after being eligible to vote in lettering tomorrow. Meanwhile, your back brother, your truly, was born 15 minutes earlier, so I can vote. It's arbitrary and unfair. The voting age should be lowered to 16. I firmly disagree. No way 16-year-olds are mature enough to make decisions with national consequences. I'm eligible. I don't have to have a voice running. Meanwhile, I know the candidates inside and out. She's obsessed with politics. Exactly. If 16-year-olds are mature enough to vote, then by their same logic, they should be allowed to drive. I firmly disagree. I'm an excellent driver. I never got a ticket, unlike some people. That is so unfair. That stop sign was hidden by a tree. I think you both make valid points, and questioning the age limits others is well warranted. Some countries have lowered the voting age to 16, and cultural coming age ceremonies are often celebrated at different ages. As there seems to be no consensus on exactly when we reach maturity, perhaps science can give us clear answer. One way neuroscientists have looked to define adulthood is by when the brain is fully grown. Brain developed involves two trajectories. First, there are reduction in gray matter. Gray matter consists of cells and connections that facilitates communication at short ranges, creating dense information processing hubs. While a reduction may seem like a bad thing, what's happening is a selective pruning. Connections that are used are kept and strengthened, while underused ones are weeded away, creating a brain that is both fine-tunes its environment and energy efficient. This gray matter reduction coincides with the increase in white matter. White matter refers to connections that are myelinated, coated in a layer of insulation allowing for fast, short-range communication between information hubs. For example, this path connects regions that set the pleasure of immediate reward with regions that help us plan ahead, allowing us to make more balanced, forward-thinking decisions. Imaging studies show that white and gray matter volumes undergo drastic changes during adolescence and continuing through your 20s. But the brain's journey is far from finished, as various experiences continue to reshape its connections throughout your lifetime. So brain structure alone may not give us our answer. Another way scientists have tried to define adulthood is by measuring cognitive development. When are you able to learn and complete mental tasks at the same efficiency as older adults? By this definition, adulthood may begin as early as 60, as teens perform just as well on tasks that is as reasoning, problem solving, and critical thinking. Though capable of making smart, well-informed decisions, teens may be more susceptible to external pressures. Studies show that when performing risk-taking and self-control related tasks, 18 to 21-year-olds behave much like older adults. But when these tasks include emotional elements such as utilize self-control when identifying fears faces, or a social element such as making a decision in the presence of friends, different patterns emerge. Under these influences, 18 to 21-year-olds tend to behave more like younger teens, and their brains show younger teen-like patterns of activity. In other words, during your teen and early 20s, your brain is wired to place more value and attention on social and emotional elements. This allows emerging adults to better explore their identity and connect with others, but may also create more vulnerability to negative peer influence and rush heat of the moment decisions. For this reason, many scientists argue that judicial systems should expand juvenile courts to include those in their late teens and early 20s, as current systems fail to recognize how the emerging adult's brain is still changing. So, when are you actually adult? As you can see, there's no exact age or moments in development that we can point to. Instead, neuroscience suggests that there are waves of maturity, as different brain regions and mental ability mature at different times, so do different adult like states and behaviors. Not everyone will reach each wave maturity at the same age. Each person journey to adults is unique, influenced by genetic, environments, and experience. One more. Most countries recognize 18 as a start of adulthood by granting various freedoms and privileges. But is age the best way to measure maturity? I was born 24 a.m. on November 6th, 5 minutes short of being eligible to vote in election tomorrow. Meanwhile, your big brother, your truly, was born 50 minutes earlier, so I can vote. It's arbitrary and unfair. The voting age should be lowered to 16. I firmly disagree. No way 16-olds are mature enough to make decisions with national consequences. I eligible, I don't even know who's running. Meanwhile, I know the candidates inside and out. She's obsessed with politics. Exactly. If 16-year-olds are mature enough to vote, then by the same logic they should be allowed to drive. I firmly disagree. I'm an excellent driver. I never got a ticket, unlike some people. That's so unfair. The stop sign was hidden by a tree. I think you both make a valid point, and questioning the age limits of 30 is well warranted. Some countries have lowered the voting age to 16, and cultural coming of age ceremonies are often celebrated at different ages. As there seems to be no consensus on exactly when we reach maturity, perhaps science can't give us clear answer. One way neuroscientists have looked to define adulthood is by when the brain is fully grown. Brain development involves two trajectories. First, there are reduction in gray matter. Gray matter consists of cells and connections that facilitates communication at short ranges, creating dense information processing hubs. While a reduction may seem like a bad thing, what's happening is a selective pruning. Connections that are used are kept and strengthened, while underused ones are weeded away, creating a brain that is both fine-tuned its environment and energy efficient. This gray matter reduction coincides with an increase in white matter. White matter refers to connections that are myelinated, coatings in the layer of insulation, allowing for the fast, far-range communication between information hubs. For example, these paths connect regions that censor pleasure of immediate reward with regions that help us plan ahead. allowing us to make more balanced, forward-thinking decisions. Imaging studies show that white and gray matter volumes undergo drastic changes during adolescence, then continuing through your 20s. But the brain journey is far from finished, as various experiences continues to reshape its connections throughout your lifetime. So brain structure alone may not give us our answer. Another way scientists have tried to define adulthood is by measuring cognitive development. When are you able to learn and complete mental tasks at the same efficiency as older adults? By this definition, adulthood may begin as earlier as 16, as teens perform just as well on tasks that assess reasoning, problem solving, and critical thinking. Though capable of making smart, well-informed decisions, teens may be more susceptible to external pressure. Studies show that when performing risk-taking and self-control related tasks, 18 to 21-year-olds behave much like older adults. But when these tasks include an emotional element, such as utilize self-control when identifying fever faces, or a social element such as making a decision in process of brain, different patterns emerge. Under these influences, 18 to 21-year-olds tend to behave more like younger teens, and their brain show younger teen-like patterns of activity. In other words, during your teens and early 20s, your brain is wired to place more value and attention on social and emotional elements. This allows emerging adults to better explore their identity and connect with others, but may also create more vulnerability to negative peer influence and rush heat-of-the-moment decisions. For this reason, many scientists argued that judicial system should expand juvenile court to include those in their late teens and early 20s, as current system fail to recognize how the emerging adult brain is still changing. So, when are you actually an adult? As you can see, there's no exact age or moments in development that we can point to. Instead, neuroscience suggests that our wave of maturity, as different brain regions and mental ability mature at different times, so do different adult-like states and behaviors. Not everyone will reach age-way maturity at the same age. Each person's journey to others is unique, influenced by genetic, environments, and experience.